So we have the weekly volume balance here on the ES chart, daily chart, FEG, right? And then this was the other FEG I was looking at today. And then once we broke above this, that's when we saw that melt up, right? So here is that FEG on the daily chart, this bearish FEG. And then once we got above it, right, that's when we saw the push for buy side liquidity up here. So let's hop in on smaller time frames. Here we go. We get the push above the daily FEG, and then you see the expansion move to the highs. Okay. And then we take buy side liquidity and we see some, manipulation, kind of prices just messing around up here after sweeping the highs, right? Cool. Let's get back to this larger time frames. I'm not sure why my visibility on this is. Do I have it? That's maybe why. There we go. Cool. So now looking into the future, now that we've taken buy side, we should have upwards bias for a move into this weekly imbalance here, right? This seems to be the last imbalance that is yet to fill. As you see, like this imbalance, we have to push down, fills the imbalance, comes back down. So this imbalance here looks like it's very possible for it to fill. And then we also, of course, have this order block here on the weekly chart should provide some support. So look for a retracement down into here, down to this FEG here, and then from there we can definitely see a push back up to that weekly imbalance. Now that we've taken this buy side here, 30-minute chart, we have some liquidity here, so I'd be looking for at least a push down into this liquidity to fill orders, so that way we can then price can then push higher once again. Okay. 4-hour chart, we have quite a few FEGs down here, right? And then this is a little inverse FEG we could look at. These kind of PD arrays are going to be the main things I'm looking for, right? I'm not going to take any blind longs or anything like that in these PD arrays, but upon retracement down to these, if we see reaction, then we come into obviously our smaller time frames and look for a trade. Now I'm going to go over the trade I took today. There were 2 trades here. So the first trade was in this 5-minute FEG. Upon this Judas swing down, we took internal sell side, and then I was able to scalp along. I took a long position off this order block here on this candle. We get above it, we come down, we bounce off the order block, entry long. I took half my position off over these highs. We came back down into this 1-minute FEG, and then I took another long entry on this order block here when it retapped it, and I took it off of the reaction to this order block about right here. So entry 1, half off, re-entered the other half of my position that I took off up here, and then my next target was these highs here. I took another position off here, and then my final position I took off at these highs. So this was just a really nice clean trade, just trading the price action off of a 5-minute order block that held. Oops. 5-minute order block holds, or sorry, 5-minute FEG holds. I take this 1-minute order block after the Judas swing, right? Another 1-minute order block here, and then full take profit gets hit at this 1-minute FEG. Turtle soup takes the liquidity here, and then dies back down. Okay. The next nice entry was these stacked lows here, right? We get a stop raid. Whoops. We get a stop raid into this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay. And then following that, we have an order block that forms here. Entry comes in here, and we're just looking for internal liquidity. Right. We also have this fair value gap here, which is why I'm not going to target this high here, because I'm only looking for the internal liquidity, basically trying to get out at a potential basically just trying to get out at a potential turtle soup, which is something that could have happened here. Then the next thing I'm looking for is this order block, right? Not necessarily going to take an entry here because we just took internal buy side, but it's hard to flip bearish until we see this order block fail, right? You can see it holds here, we get a push up, we come up to take this liquidity out, right? And then it's just manipulation, chop, stop rating the rest of the day, right? So no real good trades after this trade here. This was clean, this was clean. And after that, it just kind of gets choppy, just stop rating everything and just really manipulating retail into getting chopped out of other positions. So that's just kind of what I was looking at on NQ. NQ really not the best trading conditions, but you know, able to make something out of it. Cool. Taking a look on the ES chart, pretty similar, using this as another conviction bias. So this 3-minute FVG is something I was looking at today, right? You can see how well it holds here. Despite this liquidity being taken and stuff like that on the smaller time frames, this 3-minute FVG continued to hold on ES. And this is just another thing that continued my bullish bias whilst NQ was breaking down here. I knew that as long as this FVG is holding and we're taking these order block entries, likely the bias is still to the upside. We also had obviously all these stack ties here that I knew were likely wanting to be taken out. So we just kept on chugging along, taking out all these stops that retail was putting in before the big move. Pretty much right at close right here, right? So that's pretty much the afternoon session for NQ or ES and NQ for Friday. Now we're gonna get into June 20th lows, right? So really interesting price action here at these lows, right? So yesterday on Thursday, right, I was really trying to target, really trying to target June 28th lows here, all the stacked sell side right here. And pretty much the only thing that really saved me from, you know, having a pretty bad day there was just the fact that I know that these internal liquidity was tagged, and how well I saw the NQ chart holding this new week opening gap. That really kind of influenced my bias into thinking, you know, while I would like to see the sell side hit, there's a decent chance it's not going to be tagged. The last thing is to mention, really, it's really important to utilize your inverse FVGs in times like this. So when you have a pretty strong bias towards sell side being hit, you really need to see your fair value gaps hold. So for example, where was it? Right. Was this 1205? 1205. That was the 28th. I'm all messed up here. 29th. Right here. Yeah. Cool. Maybe it was the 15-minute chart here. Yeah. So here on ES, we have NQ here, ES over here. And upon this move to the downside here, right? This 15-minute FEG holds, and I take a short position. I take a short position right here. All right. So let's hop into the 1-minute chart just so it's pretty blatantly obvious. So we have 15-minute FEGs, this as this box here that gets filled, and this is a 5-minute FEG holds here, right? And then we have this inverse FEG here. Okay. And this was my entry right here after buy side internal liquidity, we stop trade, entry hits, and we start to dump. And here I'm thinking, okay, this is a sell model. I'm targeting these lows here. However, I'm obviously always going to be taking some profits at sell side liquidity, internal sell side. So I take partials here, and the rest of my position does get stopped out at this break-even point, right? And even at this break-even point, I'm still thinking there's a good chance that we're going to come down and hit sell side still. I'm still bearish here, right? This is still holding. This is still holding, right? Bias is still bearish to me. We're still underneath this 15-minute FEG. And then I'm thinking, okay, here's a bearish order block. I want it to hold the midway point. Wicks do the damage, right? It's at 25 here. Wicks do the damage. However, bodies tell the story. We perfectly hold the midway point at the CE of the order block, come back down, right? And from here, still my bias is bearish. Now, once this gets taken out, now I'm realizing, hold on, wait a minute, maybe this is going to continue, or this is not going to continue to the downside. Maybe this continues on up. When in doubt, high time frame, pop it up. We have this 15-minute FEG here that holds. And then the big kicker was the fact that this inverse FEG right here, this FEG does not hold. Because this FEG does not hold, now it becomes that inverse, and now we see up, comes down, push, now continues higher. So really using those FEGs, inverse FEGs as your conviction for when you're trying to target sell side. We do have clear LR, low resistance liquidity here. However, because this FEG holds and then this inverse FEG gets tagged, you can't fall in love with that trade too much. And you have to realize that likely all the liquidity, all the internal liquidity was enough for this thing to then take off. We also did have this new week opening gap there, and we had that sell side turtle soup, right? IOFED right into there on that 1-minute FEG. So, right. So while there was a decent conviction for me to think we're going to go down, it's these higher time frame charts that you really want to pay attention to and mostly rely on when you're in kind of those times of doubt, right? Cool. Friday, June, this is old. Yeah. And then we have that push up here Thursday, right? And then we have this inverse of this FEG that held once. Now it becomes that strength. I did really want to see price come down and take this liquidity here, come into this FEG and bounce and come up higher. That was really what I was looking for. However, that never happens, and we create a new inverse here. Right, if you get a 30-minute time frame, we have this bullish FEG comes into tags, continues higher. So then, especially from here, then on, it was just bullish, 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 bullish until we get that rip high, and we obviously take out this daily FEG on. Yes. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the weekly analysis.